I'm Salam Ismail, and today on the Vintage Computer Shack we have the veritable Osborne 1. So this is a early original model in the tan briefcase. As you can see, there's been some normal discoloration from exposure to the sun. This can be easily remedied. Well, I wouldn't say easily remedied, but with some effort it can be remedied with some retro bright. But otherwise, it's in very nice condition. I cleaned it up as well as I could. These foam feet right here, as with all this type of foam, you can't really see very well in the camera, but it's kind of, it's not exactly the sound deadening type that you find inside for fans and stuff, but it's similar, and it's crumbling and little bits and pieces fall off, and then as it rolls around, as the case rolls around on your desk or whatever, you get these black smudges. I just actually had to clean it up again. As you can see right here, already developed. They kind of come off pretty easily when it's fresh, but with a little bit of cleanser it comes off. But that's kind of a recurring issue, at least if you're going to be moving it around on a desk a lot. But that's typical. Other than that, again, it's in very nice shape as far as cosmetically. All of the, or both of the clips are still attached very firmly. There was a version of these made, I believe maybe probably the earliest ones, where these would just come right off over time. These seem to be sort of plastic welded into the enclosure somewhat, so they're very firmly on there. Still feels very nice and firm and good quality. The Velcro for the both the cover. I mean, the cover is, first of all, it's still with the unit, which is nice. The Velcro is firmly attached. A lot of times you find this Velcro coming off, so this is, as far as I can tell, original Velcro. It might have been replaced at some point, but it looks pretty authentic. We have serial number A18783, Osborne Computer Corporation. A little bit of smudge there. Unit works just fine. I'll be demonstrating it in just a second. The handle, the leather on the handle is still pretty nice and supple. No major cracks or flaws. There's just some scratches on the side here. This at some point was flown on Pacific Southwest Airlines, an old defunct airway, PSA, by a Mr. Rasmussen in Berkeley. And let's see, let's get this thing opened up here. Alright, so as you can see, it's still very nice inside. I've covered up with blue tape Mr. Rasmussen's, the former owner's driver's license number for privacy issues. This is just some electrical tape. It comes right off. It is very apparent, and that's one thing to keep in mind with this. This is scrawled in or scribed in with a I'm forgetting the name of the tool for some reason, but you all know what I mean. And so it's very apparent. That's and the same thing with the driver's license number here and in the case, although depending on what light you're in you don't really see it, but I covered it up just in case for privacy issues. So here we are. The keyboard is in very nice shape itself. This is an original little template for WordStar that was printed out and just placed in here. Left it in there because it's cute. We got a couple disk drives. Now internally this thing is double density, has a double density enhancement board, and it also has a SunPack 80 column board. And so as you can see here, there's a external video port, and this is a port for actual external video monitor, like a add-on monitor. We're going to plug it into the 80 column monitor in a little bit and see if maybe we can get some output, but we'll get into the full functionality of this in just a second. Got our reset switch, brightness and contrast control. Here's our keyboard port, and IEEE 488 port, serial port, and modem port. And in some models I've actually had a modem. I might still have that Osborne that has actually a modem inserted in here, and then it has a little cable that plugs down in here. So there's the illustrious 3-inch monitor there. This one came along with this rather silly Fresnel lens that is only nominally effective. I'll show you that just for the fun of it. I think it's kind of goofy. I'll go ahead and plug it in back here. and turn it on. Alright, we've got our nice little beep. Takes a little bit here for the screen to warm up. There are a couple of little flaws on the display. I don't know if that's a scratch right there or just some dirt, and then there's a black speck right here. This is actually a protective lens. I actually didn't want to take this apart to check and pull off the protective lens and see if there's dirt behind it. I already took this apart too many times. I didn't want to deal with it. So that might be something to do in the future. Otherwise, there is an unfortunate black speck that you can just barely see right there. But at any rate, and then here's the monitor with the Fresnel lens. Wow, look at that magnification. So anyway, system works just fine. The video is pretty good. As you can see, there probably is going to need some maintenance at some point. You can see those raster lines in the back there. I believe it's indicative of capacitors going out. Speaking of, but otherwise, it does still have a nice crisp display. It's a tad warped, but not too much, and it could stand to be a little bit higher. But it displays nice. Keyboard seems to work. Sounds really good, right? Everything's all nice. Doesn't boot. Disk drive comes on. We get this boot error over and over and over again, unfortunately. And I just don't have the patience or time to try to debug it. So that is an issue, but let me go ahead and reset it there. The discs that come with it are standard type set you would expect with a CPM machine. CPM utilities, Osborne diagnostics, just a bunch of random stuff. I'll just user-made disks, MBasic, CBasic. Here's something that's labeled Unix Fortran programs, which I thought was interesting. And then some other stuff. So get some disks with it to play around with. Unfortunately, they don't really boot off of any of them. I've tried. Like here's the CPM utilities, for instance. Get the same basic thing. If you try to boot off the disk, you just get a boot error. I don't hear any recalibration, anything of the sort. I tried cleaning the head. Did not try adjusting speed, checking speed, anything like that. I did try to swap the drives. In fact, I did actually, at least electronically, swap the drives to no avail or electrically swapped the drive to no avail because drive B did not want to act like drive A and just wouldn't come up at all. And I couldn't find, the configuration switch or jumper or anything. The documentation I found online for this model was for a completely different build, so I gave up. It's a fun project for somebody who wants to mess around with it and get it working, because it's in already nice shape. It's in very displayable shape. Just has some electronic problems. You've got the 80 column board inside, and you've got the double density disk drive. I'll try plugging it up to an external monitor and let's see if anything comes up. Alright, well, I've got this Apple external monitor here plugged into our external monitor port on our Osborne, and it looks like we do in fact have video coming out of it. I imagine it would be more relevant if there were an 80 column, or the 80 columns was activated. That's really what you want the external monitor port for. Don't mind that this is pushed over here. That's because of the monitor. The monitor has an issue, not the has nothing to do with the output of the Osborne. I can assure you of that. At any rate, there we are. Very classic vintage Osborne 1 in pretty nice shape. Just needs a little TLC. I'll catch you next time on the Vintage Computer Shack. It's just a little postscript. I got to know Lee Felsenstein. He's the designer of the Osborne 1. And one day he was speaking at the Computer History Museum in Mountain View. And during question and answer session, I decided to troll him a little bit. I said, Lee, how come you designed the Osborne 1 keyboard to fit the way it did? How come you didn't turn it around so that the Osborne could stand up straight like the K-Pros did? And I forget his answer, but the gist of it was that I told him, well, I own a bunch of them and it makes them hard to stack. And I got a chuckle out of the nerd audience there. So anyway, but that is one thing I never did get a satisfying answer from him. It was really just, I don't know, I didn't think about it. So thanks, Lee.